here in Ukraine, all they dream about is working for European clients, American clients, Canadian, and Australian because they pay.
Because
So,
the
yeah, so you just have to do that. Simple as that. And there were a lot of things like, okay, it's 11 p.m., I'm already in bed, and Canadians start slacking me, like texting me in Slack, and I know that they know it's late, but
they
well,
will still text you.
I still do answer them because,
Oh my God.
okay, I will wake up, it's gonna be their night, so it's such a long time for them to wait for my simple answer. I just have a kind heart, you know?
No, but like, don't be. But sometimes we need to decide our boundaries, right? Sometimes, I mean, obviously, us as UX designers and like freelancers need to hustle, but sometimes it's really good to like decide a boundary mark that this is where till I go, and like after that it's my personal space. But that's fine. Like, there's situations and we have to pass on to them. Like, right.
Okay,
And it
so
has
I
happened
hope
to
I
every other
answered your
influencer out there,
question.
I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. So like the next question would be, so as you said that Bhavishya, we can't really hear you. Hello, Bhavishya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me now?
It's all right. You can answer. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Go
perfect.
ahead. Hello, are you going ahead?
No, you can continue.
All right. Okay. Okay. So the next question would be: so as you said, you found a lot of work on Upwork, right? So would you suggest the new freelancers and upcoming designers to actually go on Upwork, or do you have any other softwares or like Fiverr or some softwares like that where you find your work on? Right? What were your go-to places to find your projects on?
Upwork.
Upwork. That's it.
I started there, and maybe I will go to TopTel one day if I have time to pass their long submission process. I just don't have time. A lot of
And I've
people.
and I've heard it's kind of scam as well. I mean, I also tried for TopTel, and they actually make you do the whole project just to get in, and that's really devious.
Really, they make you do the project to get
Complete
in?
project. They gave me a hospitality project end to end to design its desktop and mobile application designs end to end, and I thought it was just bizarre. Like, I'm not gonna design a complete project for you as an assignment to get into TopTal. I said no, thank you.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought that they give you some little test after they review your PDF portfolio that you have to prepare. But, well, I don't even do test tasks if somebody asks me. I mean, literally, have such a huge portfolio on Upwork. They should understand that I know everything. That's the proof, the reviews and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah.
Have you
Well,
faced any
I
pricing
would
issues with
recommend going to
Upwork?
Upwork because it's the biggest platform.
Have you faced any pricing issues with Upwork? Like, most freelancers out there are actually willing to do the job at a really low rate. So does that bother you? Does that affect your conversions as a Upwork freelancer?
Hmm. Well, at the start, yes,
All
but
right.
it was so long time ago. Now I just say what I want, and if they don't want it, they will not reply, or they will reply, okay, we can't afford it, or something like that. Um, but for a couple of months, I was like trying to get a little bit of summer. So I put like a little note on the top of my profile saying that I'm not taking the websites work, only dashboards, software as a service projects, or mobile applications. Because to be honest with you, I hate making websites. Um, and people, from what I see, that are really interested in working and their job to be done through Upwork, they take time to read. And all who actually don't care, they can gather 55 proposals and just leave the job post hanging out there. they will never read who you are. So I get invited to so many website jobs, which I specifically highlighted as the ones I don't want to do. It is really offensive. You know, when they say, don't send us spam proposals, don't copy and paste the text in the proposal, place this word at the top so we know you're not a spam. Well, guys, listen up. Do the same to freelancers. Just take time to read what the person is, because the amount of proposals is like so big, and I spend time declining and declining and declining them, and this is so disappointing, I would say. But in any case, I think Upwork is the best place to go for. Obviously, the competition is huge, but I can't say I struggled because A, I'm top rated, and B, I have only 5-star reviews during all the period on Upwork. So yeah, hopefully I answered the question number 2.
No,
Definitely did.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's now talk about like some tools that you use while you work. So first, coming on to the UX research documentation, like we all research a lot, right? We need to. So what would be your go-to stuff for researching? Is it simple docs and sheet, or are there other softwares like InVision or UX Pen and stuff like that? So or flow maps. So what do you generally use?
Okay,
And then obviously why? Obviously, like that comes with the why. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a pencil and pen person.
Oh, that's great.
I like
We are pencil and pen paper too
sketch
as
on
well.
the paper first. So I start from paper everything I do, even when I need to write, I don't know, user stories, for example. You know, and then I think, okay, Helen, you now need to take a sheet of paper and just type it into the computer. Why wouldn't you just start from typing it? And
Exactly.
every single time it just doesn't work. I like to sit on my bed and do it with a pen. Then I use simple Google tables for most of the stuff. If I need to make a very fast wireframe, I would go to Whimsical. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, Whimsical.
Yeah.
It's so basic. So basic.
You
But
can create
for
basically
fast
any flow
work,
there, even user flows, journey maps, pretty much everything. I guess now.
yeah, it's supporting diagrams and the flows and the
Mind maps.
UX
Yeah, everything.
flow maps. Really useful thing and very simple, because I hate doing complex stuff, because then you are coming to the actual designing, and for the actual designing I use Sketch. I use Sketch because I pay for it, probably. So I got it on the
would Sketch be your preferred software, or would like Adobe Illustrator or something like that? You would prefer that more?
Okay, I will answer in this way. I only use Sketch this year because I have had ability to buy the subscription on Black Friday for almost half price. So if not that, I would probably switch to Adobe XD because everybody are now using it.
Yes.
It's polished enough, and obviously the InVision Studio got released. It's fine, but my computer for some reason is getting slow when the layout is getting very big. So I would use those two free tools if I didn't have a chance to buy Sketch again for a low price. But yeah, once you step into the Sketch world, it's so hard to switch because I can draw icons there, and because they have such a powerful editing tools inside, I started to hate Illustrator because Illustrator seems to be right now so overwhelmed with features I never used in my life, and I will never use them. So yeah, you know, I pay for Adobe just to use the Illustrator and Photoshop. Said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
We are
even
still
use.
doing
I
it
use
actually.
Lightroom on my phone. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
We are still doing it. We are still doing it. We're using Photoshop Illustrator just because we are paid for it.
Again, I got the price on Black Friday. It's 29, not 50.
All right.
So again, this is the greed, I suppose. Oh, I can have this one for 29 a month. I will go for it.
Oh no, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
So like yeah, go ahead.
And coming back to design tools, if I start from Sketch, obviously I would prefer to make a prototype in Sketch. So I use the Craft plugin. It works pretty good. I can throw the prototype in InVision and everybody can see and click through it. Has some bugs though. I've noticed InVision is allowing exporting the screens into it, and you can grab all the assets. Well, not you, developers can grab all the assets. But recently I've realized that if on one screen I called something like BG background, and on another screen I have the same element called BG background, but different images, sometimes it's just one image for some reason from the first screen. It just like duplicates everywhere, and I have to spend a lot of time sending the assets myself through email because InVision has those kind of bugs. Well, hopefully they will fix it because this is a very convenient tool. I have like 11 InVision accounts of my clients,
One for each project,
and I
right?
like switch all the time. Yes, for each project. So every client has InVision, and I have 11 accounts.
Oh, that happens. That's pretty common with designers. That
We
yeah.
did that earlier with
All
Marvel
right.
app.
So,
Initially,
like
they allowed
as you
everything.
mentioned that you're a paper and pencil person. So, do you think that normal paper and food?
You can continue, Keshav.
Sorry. Sorry, what? Okay. So, like, yeah. So that's what I want to ask you is like, do you find that there are good? Do you need like proper tools like wireframing tools to assist you, or are you like happy with like a dotted diary or like a dot grid diary or like normal simple paper and pencil?
Well, unfortunately I can't show you the sketchbook because I just throw everything once the project is done. But you should see my wireframes. That perfect images that we see on a lot of Instagram accounts of specifically UX designers.
Yeah.
They are so far away from me. I sketch with my hands. This is not straight, absolutely messy and stuff like that. I am a typical creative person with like that.
No,
So,
but that helps, right? Sometimes that helps when, like, out of that messy situation, you pick out something that really clicks you. That sometimes helps. I mean, yeah.
yes, definitely. With my from my very rough sketches, I start actually designing in Sketch. So, well, maybe that's a bit of experience plays here, but I think it's. I'm 27 years old. I'm not a big fan of fancy new tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm making myself to learn something new, like Webflow, for example. I want to try this one. But for the wireframing, unless something really will get my heart, I will never switch from paper and pen.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Okay. So, okay, now let's talk about. I think, I mean, you're probably one of those people who's been really into VR and AR since a lot of time, right? Because I've seen a lot of posts, content shared by you. This too.
Or okay, so
no, so that's still a lot. There's still a lot considering the fact that you're a designer, because designers have been like people have been pushing designers to get into VR and AR, and that's like a whole separate thing. But they're obviously pushing them because it's kind of related. So, like, your review upon that, and like, have you ever experienced with VR and AR? If you've not, do you plan on doing so?
okay, so I started posting about this subject because I strongly believe that this is the future, and not only for a gaming industry, but if we think deeper, for e-commerce stuff as well. Once we have a social network that will allow us to join it using the VR and be whoever we want to be, inject there the real money, and the guy who will do that is going to become like the super multi-billionaire, zillionaire, whatever. Because I know the social networks will go down, nobody will use them, even me. Have you watched the movie where people were living in a shitty place and they were all the time they were wearing the VR glasses and they had a world?
No, I haven't, but I have heard of the idea of that. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so since that movie, I started to get interested in that, but it's not so easy, you know. What I found so far is that, okay, I can make the layout in Sketch. I can preview it for VR, but then once I have the device, this is going to be really amateur. And the actual device costs here around $2,000, which is not in my budget right now. You know, it's summer, and so yeah. Well, I'm not claiming to be even halfway to a pro in VR, because this is just an emerging market, and not a lot of companies are here in Ukraine doing that. There are some augmented reality apps and VR games, but I would be more interested in how to inject the real money into our um, environment, because this is the future for everything, for fashion, for I don't know, jewelry, anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, okay. Next, what I want to ask you is that I would really love to know about the project story of yours. So you've worked in so many years. So I would really love to know about a project story wherein like that UX designer thing has kicked in. Okay, like okay, this is what happens in the industry, and like okay, this is something really new that I haven't experienced at all before, and like okay, this is how things happen, and that could describe that could describe the UX process that you adopted since then. So like okay, this is what works for me. This UX process works for me, and I'll be adopting this and probably replicating it in almost all the projects. Obviously, the specifics are different, but like the basic structure is the same. So that one project story where it kicked in for you.
Okay, so sorry, do you want to know the process of how I work?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the process, but that project story which defines that process. So, like that one project story, okay, this one project that came in and you worked upon that, and through that you defined your UX process for yourself. That okay, this really works for me because this time what I worked upon has turned out to be really awesome. This is probably your starting views or something, right?
Because we
So,
UX designers basically do a lot of UX projects, but we also know that in almost 80% of them we don't get to choose our own design process. We don't get to do enough research, don't get to talk to enough people, don't have enough budget for the UX. All those things happen. So we want to know any one story where you could actually, you got the chance to go all the way and do adopt your complete process. What was that one project?
Okay, there was a project connected to creating a marketplace which is similar to Fever, but for when you want to do the SEO of your website or to get traffic, so marketing services.
Right.
And the guy had everything. He even took the balsamic and made the wireframes himself. And he had some documented stuff. So he explained every single screen what he wants to see. And he was asking for wireframes. And I'm like, Okay, so I didn't look at the project there. Just saw that he has a lot of stuff. Even he had the X-Mind map with connections. I know it was
Right.
very basic, but and he said, "Well, I'm not a pro and I need help." Okay, so what I did is I told him, okay, his name was Andrew. I said, Andrew, okay, can I just take it? I don't know anything about this, and I will just look through, like, I don't know, internet and advise you. And he said, okay. So what I did is I took his documentation, which was like more than 40 pages, I suppose, and I had to dive into this little business. It was not little. And I wrote user stories for every single type of user that is using the marketplace, like admin, a vendor, the person who is seeking for the service,
Took care of
the
all the touch points.
moderator. So a lot of stuff. And to be honest with you, I didn't actually do that so detailed before. And I realized that the user stories have to come into my working process, and I should not rely on user stories that clients are giving, because sometimes they think they know everything, same as we think we know everything. But eventually, somebody else from another industry will come, make a tiny research for a day, and find this little thing that you haven't noticed. So in this project, I found this thing, and after user stories, he understood that, yeah, we do need to have the UX flow map, because then we can understand that which connection is broken, what screen we forgot to make, and stuff like that. Because in prototype, in Vision, it's not actually that much visible. Okay, you click through, but you don't have the whole picture. So this is how I sold to him the UX flow map. So right now, in the process of how I work with clients, I do that all the time. Not that I succeed all the time.
Yeah.
Most of clients still insist on having their own process. Most of the time they don't want to go through the whole stages, like research, user stories, personas. I've done personas when I was working in the office. People just say, okay, draft us something and send us in the email, but we already know who is our client. So okay. So sorry, I forgot what I was going to say.
But those are a hard sell for sure. They are a hard sell.
Yeah, so you will never have your own process applied to every single project. But my clients are all right. They actually listen, and if they say we want this, the trick that I do is I do what they want, and I do what I want, and I send them the two on the one page, and I say, okay, here is yours, here is mine, and mine is better because A B C D E. 99% of clients agree, which is really good.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to happen, right? Because we have a vision in mind and we've been working for it and we have a vision. And when clients just, keep on lingering on their fact and it doesn't work out, right? Doesn't work out really well. All right. Yeah. Okay, so almost the coming to an end. So like, okay, second last question. Just some tips. Okay, we talked about how you faced some struggles in the start. So some tips to the new budding UX designers, new age designers in the community that you would tell them to be aware of, and okay, these are the things that you can like do from the beginning so that you don't face these problems at later on in your career. So like some of the tips or suggestions you want to give.
Okay, so I have a lot of people texting me in some about portfolios, and they say that their portfolios are good, but I'm not sure that they actually combine their portfolios with somebody who's really cool. I mean, like Cubic Studio, let's say, or some stars on Dribble. People think that design sometimes is the thing that everybody can learn, and this is not actually true. So if you're starting in design, make sure you do understand what is a white space, because this is a very common problem. What distances should be between titles and body text, how much space to leave between the text in the button and the button border, because all those little tiny stuff are forming a huge problem, which is called the ugliness of the design. So there was a good tip about trying to take the existing solution of a big brand and remake it. I think it might work for people who are just starting. When I started graphic design, I was taking the best things I could find on Behance. It was popular those days. And I tried to copy it with my own idea. So if there was a Dribble, if I had a Dribble account those days, this is called a rebound shot, right? So I kind of did a rebound shot of Behance project. I did 7. And when I came to a job interview, I got this job only because the creative director saw how my first work on Behance differed to my last work on Behance.
That's right.
So it's not that much. You don't really need to be like a superstar, but people should see that you progress. Another thing, I can give tips to freelance designers, and I gave them just right now, 15 minutes before our call, in my post. Guys need to be prepared for not being paid for a while. This is really important. I came back to freelance in October. I had 1 month and I wasn't paid. I only conducted interviews, calls, and stuff like that. And I had all my experience. So if you're just starting, be prepared that the first Upwork client can come to you for months, for a month and a half, and only if the portfolio is good. And also, the pricing probably. So when I was working in a company, I had a designer guy. He was 19. He came to me and he said, "Well, I don't know Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. I did my stuff in I'm not sure what he said, Canva or something like that, and I want to be paid XXX." So be realistic about what you're worth. If you know a set of tools, like 10 programs, and you really are confident using them, that's one thing. But if you require some more learning, it's better to say yes to the project with a lower price. But if you see that, it's a good thing for my portfolio, I can do it cheaper, I do it still. I can do it cheaper because it will look good in my portfolio. It's a new industry, new opportunity.
Right.
And just don't be afraid to lower the price a little bit, but don't do what most freelancers do. They're like ready to work for $10, and this is so bad.
Yeah, that's disrespectful to everyone in the community, pretty much.
Yeah, it's annoying everyone. Okay, that we need, because of them, we need to explain why people you need to pay us this. Okay, he charges $5 per logo, but the logo can't cost $5 because ABCD, and you spend time explaining that. So obviously it irritates. Yeah, and obviously when I was starting, there was no Instagram community at all. And right now, I'm so happy to see that everybody are sharing some knowledge. I learn a lot from different people that I haven't even seen them, but it's so cool. You can just follow somebody and get the piece of content every week. Somebody's posting every day, you know.
Right.
So just go for it. The content is king. It's everywhere. It's not like 7 years ago when I was starting and I had nothing. Well, something, but not like today. So yeah, that's gonna be my last advice.
All right, that's great.
That'd be really
All right,
helpful
so
for
like
newcomers.
coming to an end, the last question. So it's more about you. So planning for 2020 and 2019-20, like for this year, what's your plan of action? What's like your focus? Something that you really want to focus on? Is it your
Okay.
brand, like, or your design, related to design portfolios, or like your brand, something like that? So what do you focus
Yeah. Well, can you
Sorry?
repeat, please?
It's okay. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm planning to do what I'm doing right now. As I said before, I just came back to freelance in October. So before I get bored, I think until October I can stay where I am right now, having clients and just doing the regular work and doing my Instagram activities and my LinkedIn. In the future, I definitely would go for exploring the VR deeper and transferring the knowledge that I got into my blog. And then maybe if I will feel lonely, because I do feel lonely on freelance, maybe I will find a job in the office in the VR sphere. So I I think this is the future, so I would go for it, at least for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are my plans. And obviously, if I will have some spare money and time, I would definitely go for creating my own course. But this is very time consuming, so not sure if that's gonna come in 2020, maybe 2021. Who knows?
Yeah, wait,
I have-
definitely wait.
I have a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
So you're interviewing people, and how are you going to use this information? You're going to like what, post it?
No, so
Yeah,
we
so
are
that
basically creating a series where we're interviewing every top person in the UX industry, and we're gonna make a YouTube a playlist for it that people can see all the interviews. If we get a good audio out of it, we're gonna post it on Spotify. But that's away from our paid company. That's our for-profit company, the Niche Mind. This is an initiative named Top UX Designers. So we have kept it completely separate from our main corporate business, and this is majorly for profit for the community to actually make people understand that it takes a lot to be a designer, not just making pretty things on Dribble, not just putting up graphics on Behance. It takes data, it takes marketing, it takes so much more that we have been working around, and that's what we wanted to debunk, and that's why we are here, and that's why we are interviewing you.
I wanted to make one more advice, and you just made me remember what I wanted to say. Guys, please stop making shoes designs. Those
Right.
Nike shoes are so irritating. I don't know who started that, but this is so insane. I even made a laughable post myself, and I used the Reebok limited edition sneaker because the sneaker post. Come on, there is so much out there, so many industries.
Right.
Why? Why everybody think that this is the top design gets promoted everywhere? Be creative. This is our job.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people might throw rocks into me, so that's my subjective opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right.
No, exactly right. Like when you have so much to focus on and so much to explore, why just that, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So Helen,
Anyway,
do
I
you
wish you
mind
luck
us
with your.
using this video for sharing it on the YouTube channel or maybe on the podcast? Do you mind that? We'll obviously share that link with you first. If you don't like anything on it, we'll remove it, edit it, and re-upload it. Be sure of that.
I don't mind, of course. If I knew that you're going to post my face on YouTube, I'd probably wear something more pretty. But but this is the way I am, you know. This is
It's
my
okay.
work.
We're probably gonna come back to you in season 2, right? So like by then we'll be like everyone's of our standards would be higher. Ours also would be higher. Maybe yours would be you would be like decked up and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a pity that you couldn't see me from my computer. But right now I'm thinking, probably that was a good idea for my camera to get broken, because behind my back there is a mess.
This made sure
Yeah,
that it
so
focused
right
just
now
on your
I'm
face.
happy with it. Huh?
This made sure it focuses just on your face, not the mess.
Yeah, okay. Well, but
All right. Thanks a lot,
okay.
Helen, for being there in the interview. Hello, you guys hear me?
Thank you guys. It was very nice to meet you and very nice interview. And I wish you all the best in your project and your podcast and stuff like that.
Definitely, you two all the best for all the upcoming projects. And if we are ever visiting here, we would love to hit you up and like work on something, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.